watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Harminder Singh.
And I'm Sarah Wong. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Chief Executive Carrie Lam denies giving in to the business sector regarding concessions in extradition amendments.
Housing prices in Hong Kong climb at the fastest pace in 6 years as interest rates remain low.
And U.S. President Donald Trump slaps tariffs on Mexican goods to force southern neighbor to stop migrants crossing the border.
Chief Executive Carrie Lam has denied caving into the business sector over the proposed amendments to the extradition bill.
This comes amid fears that concessions announced yesterday could prevent the extradition of a murder suspect to Taiwan, a case which the government has highlighted as a key reason for the amendments. Raymond reports.
Security Secretary John Lee announced yesterday measures to tighten the scope of the proposed extradition amendments and make them more acceptable to society. These included reducing the number of extraditable crimes and additional human rights safeguards for fugitives. The concessions, which came after businesses expressed fears about a loss of investor confidence in the city, were announced just 2 days before a Legislative Council deadline. Chief Executive Carrie Lam today staunchly denied suggestions that the government is trying to appease the business sector.
I would categorically say no. Because if you look seriously into the 6 measures under the 3 categories, they actually deal with concerns and ideas or suggestions raised by a cross-spectrum of bodies, including some from lawyers who want more assurances on the human rights front. So I wouldn't accept any accusation that this is doing for the business sector.
The amendment bill was triggered by a sensational murder in Taiwan, where a Hong Kong man allegedly killed his pregnant girlfriend before fleeing the island. The SAR government insisted that without amending the extradition law, the man would walk away scot-free and Hong Kong could become a haven for criminals. But there are now concerns whether the bill would achieve its intended purpose, with the inclusion of a clause that only extradition requests from a jurisdiction's central authorities will be entertained.
Since this is such a serious matter and is going to be conducted on a case-by-case basis, we will request the requesting party to be at a very senior level. So normally it would have to be at the central government level rather than at a provincial government level. So how it would actually work out with the Taiwan authorities, we cannot say at the moment, but we'll certainly follow up.
The chief executive also dismissed the possibility of more concessions, citing the tight timeline to push through the legislation. Raymond Yang, HKIBC.
Senior officials have begun briefing lawmakers in an attempt to ease their concerns over the extradition amendments.
But legislators are worried that some assurances they received will not be written in the bill. Here's Raymond Yang again.
For the first time since the extradition amendments were tabled in February, top government officials were in the Legislative Council to allay concerns. Over the coming week, the security panel will meet for 20 hours to discuss the contentious issue. The special sessions are aimed at making up for the time lost after the bill's committee was dissolved amid chaos. In his opening remarks, Security Secretary John Lee gave examples of conditions that can be added to an extradition request. Addressing public concerns over the rights of fugitives following extradition, Lee said demands such as presumption of innocence, an open trial, and no forced confessions can be added to the agreement. But Justice Chief Teresa Chang said these will not be written in black and white to ensure flexibility in each case. The Civic Party's Alvin Yeung asked what would the government do if a suspect does not receive a fair trial on the mainland. This is a hypothetical question, but if there are shortfalls to our demands, then we will definitely follow up, Chang answered. Michael Chen, who has been urging the authorities to focus on dealing with the Taiwan murder case first, asked if the government could give him a reply by June the 27th. That led the Democratic camp to believe Chen was notified of the government's deadline to pass the bill. But the pro-Beijing lawmaker said he got the date from media reports. Raymond Yang, HKIVC.
Home prices in Hong Kong climbed last month at the fastest pace in 6 years as interest rates stayed low.
But industry insiders do not expect a sustained rise, mainly because of US-China trade war. The world's costliest property market has become even more expensive. Private home prices in Hong Kong last month jumped 3.2% from March, when the increase was 3%. April's rise was the highest since February 2013 and was attributed to low interest rates and a large number of new project launches. Rents were also higher, going up 0.6%. Home prices have risen for 4 months after falling late last year. But analysts do not expect them to keep rising, as the latest sales and price data were recorded just before the US-China trade war intensified. With the two economic giants locked in a bitter and widening dispute, property experts believe that buying sentiment will subside in coming months, even if interest rates stay low. Some analysts have not ruled out another round of government cooling measures should prices go through the roof again. They noted that in the past, the administration stepped in whenever prices rose by more than 3% for 2 months in a row. For now, policymakers are monitoring the situation.